Moments ago, I thanked Police Commissioner Anthony Batts for his service to Baltimore City, and I informed him that I would be making a change in the leadership of the Baltimore City Police Department. Crime. So we need a change. This was not an easy decision. Recent events have placed an intense many from what needs to be our main focus, the fight against crime. So we need a change.
I spill hot sauce on your fancy rug, and you don't give a shit. I've been holding with the boys all night, and it ain't no federal crime. Toss me the keys to your daddy's Corvette and say just bring it back sometime. Darling, darling, yes, the truth is just so plain to see. I like you better when you've been drinking.
Hello, this is Sister Mary Margaret Fussyknickers. You're about to listen to Free State Radio. Why? I don't know. You may hear subversive ideas like liberty, responsibility, and rights. You may even hear a bad word or two from those foul-mouthed hosts they call talent. So you best shut your mouth and open your mind, because Free State Radio is now on the air.
And yes, we are.
Yes, we are, except I'm not.
Well,
There you are.
Well, I can't hear myself.
keep talking.
Okay.
You should be able to hear
Well,
yourself.
welcome to, no, I can't hear a thing. Am I not plugged in?
I don't know, but we are live.
Oh, well, that's a good thing. Oh, that's better. So, welcome to the July 8th edition. Boy, there's a lot of...
That's not her mic.
Try again.
Okay. Still not my mic.
No. Then check your mic. Check your cable then.
Okay.
There
There
you go.
she is.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I'm really loud. Louder than usual. Up a little. Up a little. Up. There we go. Thank you. Yes, that's better. Now I can hear myself. Okay. So the July 8th, 2015 edition of Lock and Load has finally gotten underway, and all the mics are working, and Andy's got her bourbon because it's not a running day tomorrow. So life is good. I will start the show by saying there is no show next week. Producer is abandoning us.
Well, it's not by choice.
Some stupid thing called work, you know.
Yeah, this little thing like they want me to get trained on the stuff I'm supposed to be able to support.
Yeah, you know, details. So
Blasphemy.
we are joined in studio by the blasphemer himself, Dan Blasberg. So welcome, Dan.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm doing well. Mike has a disclaimer he'd like to.
Oh yeah, okay. The normal every week,
Yes.
every time we do the show, the opinions expressed by those of us sitting here on the panel and anybody who might or might not call in are the opinions of those individuals, not the opinions or statements of any organization they may be employed by or represent, unless they specifically state otherwise.
There you go. And did you want to give the call-in number? I don't
You're
have
going to ask me to remember that one?
It
'Cause-
should be on your.
Yeah, I know, but that means I got to bring up the control panel. But
Sorry, I thought you had it. All right. Well, we'll get
guest
that out.
call in is 347-215-7762.
Yes. And Rayman, yes, this is your bourbon, by the way. So thank you very much. Picture looks grainy. Yeah, we fixed the audio.
Yeah, it looks grainy because I turned the quality down on the camera. So
Oh, why did you do that?
trying to keep I can turn it up. I may not be able to turn it
I
up
don't
now.
care as long as they don't care, but it looks fine. I'm playing it in Facebook and it looks fine.
So yeah, I can't change it right now. So
Okay, well, that's fine. Dan, we'll start with you. How was your week? What was new? How was your 4th of July?
4th of July was great. I got to light off professional stuff at Laurel again.
Excellent. You didn't invite us.
Okay, I'll do that next year.
I saw the pictures on your Facebook. I went, hey, shoot. Are you kidding me?
Yes, we did shoot.
Yeah. Yes. And it went
So-
well. Nobody died.
Somewhere in the neighborhood, I believe, of around 4,500 pounds of fireworks over 42 minutes.
That'll do.
We had fun.
That looked like a good time. Good time. Anything else? What else did you do this week?
This week, not a whole lot. Let's see. Last night, I went to the Handgun Permit Review Board, which we'll speak about later. Last week was on the road. Had training down in Florida.
Secret squirrel reporting for duty. Hey,
Yeah.
where's Junior?
I don't know.
So
Oh, I'm gonna yell at him. So you were down in Florida.
I went down to Florida, went down to Fort Lauderdale for a couple days for training, and then a quick stop in Orlando to see some friends. And then did a 15-hour drive in one day on Sunday to come all the way back.
Yeah, I've done that drive. It sucks.
Oh, I had fun.
I'm sorry, it's not 9 o'clock yet.
It's not 9 o'clock yet.
Look. Ready to jump, boy. You're just ready to pounce.
Yeah, well.
Trying to protect your image.
So-
Well, it's bourbon night.
Other than that, not a whole lot that's new per se. So just trying to.
How's your wife?
Still married to me.
Miracles do exist.
They do. Some days I wonder why.
Oh God. Gyroscope's in the house. Yay! Good.
Evening, Devil Dog.
So now we don't have to give him a hard time. Yay.
No, we can give him a hard time anyway.
Okay.
Is the Death Star done yet?
So his friend Gyroscope has this Lego thing, and apparently he's had it for some months.
On his vacation with the family to Disney, the first ever for his kids, he decided to buy the $450 Death Star Lego kit. And he is
Still working.
ever so slowly,
Painfully.
painstakingly slowly, putting it together and gluing each individual Lego piece with a water soluble glue, so you can take it
okay.
apart. But he wants himself and his kids to be able to actually play with it without breaking it. So it is
Okay.
very slowly going together.
So Orlando, the friends I hung out with, the one in particular happens to be the manager in charge of VIP experiences
Yeah, he's working on it now.
for the Orlando Eye, which is their huge Ferris wheel they have down there, 400 feet tall, enclosed. Got the VIP trip for that, and Madame Tussauds and Sea Life Aquarium down there for Orlando, which they're part of. Did not take her up on Legoland for the day. Probably should have. It would have been fun.
Okay.
Maybe next trip.
Okay.
We did, however, upgrade from the regular trip up in the Orlando Eye to what's called the Champagne Flight.
Did it taste good? Were there bubbles?
There were bubbles.
Bubbles are good.
There were bubbles. Bubbles.
Bubbles.
And I got to tell you, she's doing a fabulous job of making money hand over fist on that just for them.
But good for her.
They're getting their champagne at cost, which is about $24 a bottle. You get about 5 flutes out of a bottle at
Sure.
$14 a pop.
Yeah, well,
Oh, and by the way,
that's actually not an unfair price.
No, it's not.
I know a good deal about liquor pricing, and that's not unfair.
by the way, for those of you that do the Champagne Flight and take your kids, it's still $14 for them, and they either get water or soda.
As long as it's unlimited.
Nope,
No.
just one.
Okay, well, that does suck. So,
And people are paying it without complaint.
okay, well, good for them. Okay, so before you hear about Mike's week, I want to say hi to Apple and Bolts, and of course Gyro's in the house. Joe R, Paperwork, Rain, Skipper, and 2A in Maryland.
And
Glad to see you.
this is Boltz's last show while he's a resident of Maryland.
I know. I'm gonna miss him. He should have come out. For the show.
I'm
You should have come out for the show. Okay, you should have. You've had a standing invitation. I don't want to hear it. You should have come.
Bolts is in trouble.
Yeah, you are.
Bolts is in trouble.
Yeah, you are. So now you'll just have to come back to Maryland just so you can be on the show. Drive all the way back from Bama. Actually, I saw that was out.
Actually, we need to take the show on the road and do it from Bama.
Okay, that'll require some doing, but we could probably
We can pull it off.
we could take the truck. We just need to figure out the rest of the stuff. But anyway, Mike, how was your week?
So those folks in the room, in the chat room, listening to us, I work in the lovely world of federal contracting. It is July. That means we are in the last quarter of the fiscal year, which means everybody's going, what are we going to do for next year's money? So I'm stuck in the middle of trying to justify the positions of 38 people. So, yeah, work's not fun right now.
Sorry. Oh. Okay. Everything
Sorry,
all
I
right?
forgot to turn that on silent.
Speaking of which. Oh.
No, that was my answer about the 20th.
Oh, okay. And was that an affirmative?
Yes.
Excellent.
Sweet.
Okay. Bolt says he's got 2 guest rooms and a sleeper sofa, so I'm getting a guest room. One of you people is sleeping on the sofa.
Why? I'll just bring a tent and take the whole backyard. It's huge.
I saw it. It's beautiful. So
Besides, I'm in charge of satellite TV, so I got to go down there at some point and set that up.
road trip.
There
I
we
like
go.
it. How long?
So-
How many hours is it to get to Alabama?
I think he said it's. I
Where
think he
he
said
is
it's a
should
15-hour
be right
trip.
around. Should be right around 14 to 15.
Yeah.
Depending on whether you do 90 through Atlanta or not. And if you don't do 90, you'll get run over.
Okay, so I won't be driving in Atlanta because
So-
I don't drive that fast.
Okay, so my
Here we
when
go.
my
I'm in
my,
trouble.
my grandfather died
Oh, okay.
in, let's see, my son is 15, so yeah, he would have died 14 years ago. So my son was 9 months old. We're driving down to or about 8 months old, I guess at that point.
Right.
Driving down to the funeral in Mobile.
Oh, okay.
And firstborn kid, the wife was in the back seat with the rear-facing car seat with my son in it, and she and my son had been kind of drifting in and out of sleep. We had taken 2 days, so this is the morning of the second day to driving down, and she looks up, and she's sitting in the right rear passenger seat, which means she can see the speedometer clear as day. And she goes, "Mike, do you realize you're doing 85 miles an hour?" I went, "Honey, look out the window. I'm the slow one." We were going through the city of Atlanta on 7580 through the city, and it's just it's 6 lanes in each direction, and if you are not doing 80 plus, watch out.
Yeah, you're one of the few people I can drive with. There are a couple, but you're one of the very few people that I can drive with that drives like a fucking maniac. Excuse me. Well, you do.
It's not 9 o'clock yet.
I know, and I apologize, but you know. I'll just put another quarter in the jar and go buy more wine. Sorry, Jim, if he's listening. I don't even know if he's listening.
She went to the NRA range with me last week.
I
Oh,
saw
it was
that.
great. It was great. I had a great time and I learned some stuff. So that was awesome. Yeah, the NRA range was great fun. We would have posted pictures, but there's no photography allowed at the NRA range. Daniel, where's the pics? Or it didn't happen. Don't look at me like that. You know exactly what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying because I said that exactly.
Well, then why did you ask for pics?
Because if there aren't any pics of the burn, it didn't happen.
And so brass went down my shirt. And of course, Dan wants pictures of the brass going down my shirt. Not that you could tell, but anyway. I had a witness. That should be good enough.
I said third-party verification was good enough.
But you knew I couldn't take pictures there.
You could have walked outside.
To what end?
Got to walk all the way out to the parking lot.
Right. And actually, I'm not even sure you can take them in the garage. But
Yes,
anyway.
you can.
Yes, you can. In the
It
red
is
spot.
only within the range proper.
Correct.
So within the range facility, once you come in the outside fire door, you can't take pictures.
So about 13 hours to Bama. So once he gets
Oh,
internet,
that's a day trip.
once he gets internet down there,
It's on.
we'll talk about it. I'm always up for a trip.
Well, here's the deal with going down and seeing him, because it has to be a week-long trip because he's only 2 hours from Talladega.
Well, then I'm not going. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
The new CMP range.
Is open
I'm not going if
And-
it's not hunting season.
and CMP South is open.
If I have to take a week off, it has to be during hunting season, so I can hunt
How about
bolts.
how about we take you to the CMP range that's open down there?
How about I want dead animal in my freezer?
That can be arranged on the way back.
I can do both. It is possible for me to hunt a couple days, shoot at the range a couple days, and do the show.
Okay.
I am good at multitasking. So
Rain, I'd probably
No,
make it in 11.
that would probably be Mike that could make it in 10.
11.
No, because I am very careful going down 81, and actually for the entire length of 81 that I'm on, and then just as careful going through Tennessee.
Okay, well, we have spouses we need to check with, so we'll let you know, Bolt. So CMP Talladega, Anniston, and an hour away. Okay, that's
Yes,
great,
so
but you got
Talladega is the range. Anniston is M1s.
Okay,
Is
Bolts.
CMP South Store.
when you go down, you have to find me a place to hunt. Thank you.
His backyard. It's huge.
It's not that big. It's not that big. It's a very big backyard, but it is not big enough to hunt in. At least looking at the pictures. Yeah, I know, deer and boar. That's what I would be coming for. So, what did you do for the 4th, Mike?
We went over to the brother from another mother that is not in our chat room tonight and had a cookout.
Well, that's probably a good thing because I'm going to pick on certain people. So,
So went over to his place, had a cookout in the afternoon. He had to work since BPD canceled all leave and all days off on July 4th.
yeah.
He had to work downtown at the Inner Harbor that night, and then we shortly thereafter, because of the rain and some family issues of the little person type, we went home so that one of my children does not do well with wind and rain combinations. Has some fear issues there that we're still working through. So went back to the house to be in places where she knows
Familiar.
everything.
Yeah.
And so we kind of stayed at home after that. And the jarhead brother from another mother that's in our chat room this evening building his Death Star.
Gyro.
Well, he didn't get any of my chili, so.
Well, that's what you get when you don't show up. That's what you get. Okay. So, and what did I do? What the hell did I do? We had a barbecue. We're going to barbecue over here, but because we weren't sure about the rain and this and that and the other thing, we were going to spend it poolside, but it wasn't. First of all, you're going to be poolside all day. You really want it to be like it was today. Yeah. Evil. Hot. So we ended up across the street with our friends and
the puppies.
When you guys come back, Molly will be here. She comes home next Tuesday.
Cool.
So so there will be a puppy in our midst. So, and if you know anybody that wants a AKC registerable chocolate lab, I think there are both male and female left, and they come from Championship Lines, and you all have met. The first litter, you've met my dog, and he's a great dog.
And we've met, and the breeder has been on the show.
That's right. Tom's been on the show. So if you guys know anybody that wants a hunting dog or a pet, let me know. 410-490-2734. You guys know where to find me. But they do have some left over, and they're going fast. But if you know somebody's interested, yes, they're going for about $1,000, but they are pedigreed, heavily pedigreed with Championship Lines. The mother is a British chocolate lab, and the sire is an American chocolate lab. So
does that mean they come out Canadian?
There are pics, Rain Man, all over my Facebook. So I can't exactly insert pics into the chat room.
Nice.
No, but I can insert pics into the video stream.
Well, get a picture of Facebook and put it in the video stream then. Oh, Parent here. Yay, Parent in the house. So anyway, so if you know anybody that wants a fabulous chocolate lab, I am very excited to have Molly. And
Parent's here twice.
Well,
Parent, what are you doing? Are there two of you now? That's a scary thought.
Parent, we need to go back to Pintail. I need some work on my clays. What's Facebook? Oh my God. All right. Well, Mike will take care of that for you, Raymond. At some point. And if I have to,
Are you going to do something other than watch the clays fly?
Perrin quit. You ticked him off.
No, one of Perrin quit. Perrin is still there.
And there we go. In the video stream right now is a picture of Molly getting her first bath.
Oh, I have to see what you did.
At least I believe that is Molly because it's from your pictures. So
Yes, that would be Molly. I haven't seen the picture yet, but I'm still working on it. Because again, we're 7 to 10 seconds behind. So now I'm. Anyway, so that's the news. Molly will be here next Tuesday. We will not. It's coming. Well, it was coming. There she is. Yeah, that's Molly. So, but anyway, yeah. So she will be here next week. And Perrin, we need to go to Pintail or someplace. I don't care if we go to Schrader's or what, but we need to do something because.
I believe I know a certain individual that has
Oh yeah, you did.
free tickets to PG Trap and Ski.
Okay.
So I
Thank you, Gyro.
I think the Second Amendment Canning Company.
Are you kidding me?
Preservation Society.
Are you kidding me? Do not make me call Gun Bunny.
The Second Amendment Canning Company. I like that.
Oh boy, is she getting a text? Oh,
Yeah, I'll never hear the end of that for a while, will I?
Oh, Shannon.
Yeah, I think the Second Amendment Preservation Society needs to hold a meeting at PG Trap and Ski.
What did you call it? The
Second Amendment Canning Company.
Oh Lord. Per Dan.
See what happens when you don't have me for a while?
On the show, call and kick his
9 o'clock.
tuchus. Okay, we'll see. We'll see if she gets it. I know she's got family in town.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go to PG. That's fine. I'm down, and I don't can crow. I could. Suppose I could can just about anything, but anyway. Speaking of BPD, what are you doing, Mr. Multitask, Mr. ADHD?
Putting a certain event on my calendar so that I have a reminder.
Okay. Ooh, and I got pursed lips and everything. I got the. I'm tolerating you, Andy. BPD breaking news. Anthony Batts is out. It was really interesting listening to Stephanie Rawlings Blake. He's done a wonderful job. He did this and he did that. And oh my God. But, we're going in a different direction. Well, if he was so great, why are you letting him go? Oh, wait, because you have to have somebody to blame. Who read the FOP finding report, the after action report?
I've not gotten a chance to yet.
Not yet.
All right. Well, it wasn't good.
No, it wasn't, from what I heard.
It was not good. There was some proof. And actually, is Jeremy in the house? Because I think he read it.
Yep.
Jeremy, what's the phone number?
Oh, that would be 347-215-7762.
347-215
7762.
Jeremy, call. We want to hear. We want to hear about the report. So none of us got a chance to read it, and I know that you did read it. So, really interesting. Really, really interesting. While we're waiting on Jeremy, I just need to rant about something before I have all these things to talk about. And I know you want to talk about the HPRB, which we will get to.
That's fine.
But and I'm going to throw this up on my Facebook after the show. WMAR has lost their mind. They have lost their ever-loving minds. Specifically, there's no byline. There's no byline on this.
Have to have one before they lose it first.
They're running a poll, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, actually, because I happen to know everybody in here is a gentleman, at least some of the time. Poll: should Governor Larry Hogan remain in charge during cancer treatment?
She's not a girl?
Are you kidding me? Who's not a girl?
You.
I said everybody else.
No, you said everybody. There was no else at the end of it. I waited for you to and before you finish that remark.
At any rate, there is a link in the chat room, although I'm not sure if it's clickable or not. Oh, maybe it is.
It
Yeah.
should be.
Okay.
They don't highlight, but yes, they are clickable.
Okay. So please go and vote your opinion. The man is only stage 3. And WMAR is like, I don't know what, looking for him to die or something? I have no idea. But I am really ticked off about this. So, yeah, 2A, call. We need to hear about this report. Numbers in the chat room, 347-215-7762. You got it up, Sue. If he calls you, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so if 2A calls, we'll talk about that. In the meantime, oh, okay. I should give Shannon the number too. 347-215 what is it?
7762.
So she can call in and yell at me on the air. Okay.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay. I live for abuse from the girls.
2A can't call. Damn it. Darn it. All right. Fine.
Well,
We'll talk about it then when we got more information.
okay.
What? Why? Did you read
Go
parts?
ahead.
Did you read parts of it?
I've got it pulled up.
Oh, well, hit it.
So it's some of the highlights. Officers were told not to intervene. Let's see. Where's a good quote for that one? The FOP Lodge president was receiving calls from officers and supervisors who reported they were restricted in their response to rioting, and as a result, the situation was spiraling out of control. Officers suffering equipment due to lack of protective riot equipment and constraints placed on them by command. So there was a bunch of I haven't read through all of this. I've seen a couple of quotes that have been posted in other places about officers being told to stand down, officers being warned that the rioters were going to loot and to stand down and let them. The excuse obviously coming out of other sources in the mayor's office, and I think Commissioner Batts in one of his statements was the officers were told to hold the line, trying to make it out as an officer safety thing rather than them being told not to advance on looters and protect businesses.
And was it? I don't know who told me this, but somebody told me today that actually one of the officers was praised for not doing anything while bricks and.
Yeah, let me find that one because I saw that one somewhere else.
2A saying the bullet points of the key facts.
Yeah, there's a bullet point here on page 8 of the report. So. The following are a few examples of pertinent information that was relayed to the After Action Review Committee. On Saturday, April 25th, an officer stated that a command staff member issued orders over Citywide, which is the main radio network, not to engage rioters and not to do anything that might provoke an incident. The same afternoon in the Central District, a command staff member responded on radio channel 11A that, quote, looting is expected, let it happen, end quote. Several officers stated their units were ordered to allow the looting of stores on Howard Street, even though it was occurring directly in front of them. On scene at a downtown CVS store, officers report being told not to stop looters and to hold their positions. Here's one that irks. Here's two. This first one, as a member of the public safety community, just irks the living out of me. Again, and here's the quote from the report. Again, over Citywide Radio on April 25th, 2015, officers were advised not to respond to a Signal 13 officer needs assistance call in the vicinity of Camden Yards. So a Signal 13 or a 1013 in most other jurisdictions that still use 10 codes, a code 13, Montgomery County, I think the old code used to be code 33, is not just an officer needs assistance. That's I'm in immediate danger and I need help.
They were told not to respond.
Or an officer is down and they were told not to respond. The next quote from it, one officer reported being praised by an on-scene commander for enduring the attack, an attack on the officer, I'm assuming, with no response, despite being pummeled with bricks, rocks, bottles, etc. So an on-scene commander saying, good job for letting you get your backside beat
right
while we didn't provide you help.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So yeah, but you know, nothing's going to change. She put the second in command in charge. Nothing's going to change until Stephanie Rawlings Blake. I mean, it's basically, you're going to need insecticide in Baltimore. I mean, I'm sorry, but you are, because the corruption going on in Baltimore has been going on since before William Donald Schaefer. So, you know, until you weed all of it out.
I don't think Davis will be a part of that, though.
Davis?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Good.
really don't.
Good. I don't know
I
anything
don't know.
about.
There's some conjecture from some of the members on our lovely forum that we like to hang out at, who have mentioned that he's not the best of choices.
He's not.
So-
There are better choices, but in the dealings that I've had with him when he was in PG County, he was actually pretty much straightforward. Let's get this taken care of and all that. Now that very well could have changed, because that's been about 3.5, 4 years ago. That was when he was District 1 commander over by me, before he became the assistant commander for PG County, and then he moved over to the chief for Anne Arundel.
So a couple more bullets from another section of the report. So another section, all arrests had to be approved by civilians who work in the Baltimore Police Department's legal section. So, you know, which is kind of interesting. I'm not going to read what they say in that specifically, but so here's one quote that I will. Before an arrest could take place, officers were told they must notify command staff of the situation, give a description of the suspect, then maintain, quote, eyes, end quote, on the suspect until they receive permission to make the arrest. If approved by the legal advisors, civilian legal advisors.
Oh my God.
For an arrest, officers were told an arrest team would then engage.
So essentially, they needed a lawyer to tell them that they could arrest
And,
somebody.
and apparently, from according to the report, those same instructions that were issued previously before the Army Navy game in December of 2014 and before the Ravens Super Bowl parade on February 5th, 2013.
Wow.
This glaring departure from recognized police procedure endangered both suspects and officers. A couple of the bullet points. In one case, Commissioner Batts directly ordered a sergeant to release 2 individuals who had assaulted police officers. Command staff repeatedly ordered officers not to arrest at the Inner Harbor and not to pursue aggressors in the Western District. The officers, there goes on to report that the officers are frustrated, feeling unable to do their jobs.
Well, of course. They were hired to enforce the law, and now they're being told they can't. I can understand that.
So, and then one of the other big glaring ones, officers were told not to wear protective gear during the riots. During the April 25th, 2015 roll call held at Baltimore Police Headquarters, officers reported receiving instructions from Commissioner Batts and other command staff members that they were not to wear gloves or sunglasses, and that no one was to wear a helmet until advised to do so by a supervisor. Commissioner Batts ordered officers to remove their gloves as there was no need for them to look, quote, so Billy Badass, end quote.
Wow.
Sorry, Jim. I'm just reading a quote from an article.
Wow. Unbelievable. So, the things are, it's just fascinating. So, you know, we got Stephanie Rawlings Blake, who, you know, can't decide whether she likes bats or not. And I guess today was a bad day for her. So she let him go. And now we're calling into question whether or not the governor should, what are you oohing about? That's always an interesting face from you.
All right. In the section I was just reading from, where I just read the title of the section, we're told not to wear protective gear.
Yeah.
In the bullet points, April 22nd, officers in the Western District were ordered to leave all riot equipment behind the front desk inside the district, despite constantly growing protests directly outside the building.
Yeah.
On April 24th, they were instructed, the Western District Command instructed officers that helmets were to be left in cars.
Yeah.
That one
We
talked
knew
about
that.
before.
Yeah, we knew that.
26th of April, officers were advised that helmets were approved for possession, but had to be left in the lobby of the station house.
So you can have it, but you can't use it. You can't wear it.
Members of the SWAT team, Special Weapons and Tactics, initially wore the full-scale green tactical uniforms while positioned in front of the Western District State House, but were shortly thereafter advised to their less intimidating Class B uniforms. And one officer reported the Pennsylvania State Police were told by a Baltimore Police Department command staff member to remove all of their riot equipment.
You know, and then they wonder what happened. And I mean, I'm sorry, who's going to replace Stephanie Rawlings Blake? I mean, she needs to go. For her to sit on her hands the way she did, Jai was right.
Well,
Hogan came in and
Sheila Dixon's running again.
oh, don't even get me started. So yeah, so it's going to be a mess. When is that? Does anybody know when that election is?
Baltimore City. Hold on.
16.
Is it? This is her trying to save her career, and even the Baltimore Sun has come out with an editorial and said bats needed to go, but this isn't enough. Stephanie Rawlings Blake has not done enough.
Speaking of the Sun,
So it's sorry. It is it's a primary and main election in 2016. So
Okay.
primary in April, general election in November.
Speaking of the Sun, did somebody change their Kool-Aid formula here within the past couple months?
No, I'm still drinking Makers.
No. That's you. I said the Sun. Because they're starting to beat up on Baltimore more and the legislature, and it's not quite 180-degree change from past years, but it's
Stand by.
I know.
We're in the honeymoon phase.
I know.
So, yeah. Gyro's like, what's next? If you're being attacked by protesters, point your index finger at them, pull back on your thumb, and yell, pew, pew, pew.
Only if you have a permit and a good and substantial reason.
Yeah. In other news, apparently an Uber driver, this is in Florida, and this is according to the Washington Times, a Florida Uber driver has reportedly been suspended pending a police investigation after he broke the company's anti-gun policy and shot a passenger who was allegedly choking him. Now, I'm going to assume for the sake of discussion that this guy wouldn't say he was choking him and shoot him out of,
Right.
I don't know, being crazy or something. But apparently, if you're an Uber driver, a new Uber policy prohibits riders or drivers from possessing a gun. So, you're gonna, you're gonna be picking up strangers and, okay. Yeah. So,
What's really
I
interesting?
won't be using Uber.
What's really interesting? So the Uber claims all of their drivers are independent contractors,
Yes.
but they're going to have some interesting times when they try to make as many more regulations and procedures and policies that they apply to their drivers. There's a very tight restriction on how you can claim somebody as an independent contractor before they become subject to an actual employer-employee relationship.
Right.
And not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. Nobody in this room is a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure that's cutting pretty close to the line.
Yep. So if I have a CCW permit, I can't ride in an Uber. Well, guess what? I don't, and I won't be. So we were up in New York. That was the first time I'd actually seen an Uber. So, because it's not like they're running around Northbrook. So, according to the NRA magazine, America's First Freedom.org, something smells fishy at the Atlantic. It started with the June 23rd post called Mass Shootings Are Preventable, in which senior editor, by the way, this is written by Clay Turner, creative director at America's First Freedom, in which senior editor of the Atlantic, David Frum, claims, among other things, to have found the answer to the question that has vexed Americans after every mass murder. What laws can we pass to stop this from happening? So Frum observes that a cacophony, that's his word, of pro-gun voices pick apart legislative options until, quote, in the end, the political system shrugs its collective shoulders. Apparently, he has not been in Maryland recently. That is the anti-gun sides code for "we lost." He even concedes that the point that pro-gun advocates have made over and over again, that no law could have prevented such a tragedy. Frum claims to have hit upon a winning strategy. If one meaningless law cannot stop mass murdering madmen, then perhaps we can pass lots of smaller meaningless laws. I'm reading it to you. as it's written. From strategy starts out promisingly. Enforce the laws on the books against the prohibited gun buyers. The NRA has long advocated for the enforcement of existing law before the enactment of any new law. But From quickly veers into uncharted waters. For him, even if buyers pass a federal background check, that just isn't enough anymore. Gun sellers should still be held liable for criminal misdeeds. But wait, there's more. From sites that bar liquor sellers, from sites laws that bar liquor sellers from serving drugs. Does he know a way to smell criminal intent on someone's breath? I love that line. I thought that was a great line. So, he takes the usual misleading side swipes at gun shows and the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act and blah, blah, blah. And they go on to talk about, to clarify some of these, that law enforcement has the access to firearm, all the access to firearms trace data they want. Only people like Mr. Frum are barred from that data because they abuse it. Can we remember the name of the paper? Was it in Boston where they published all of the
New York,
where they published all of the was it CCW holders' names? Yeah,
New York,
and their addresses, I believe.
upstate New York.
If we could smell anti-gun on someone's breath, we'd already be reeling. But Frum already has another brilliant idea to protect us: mandatory liability insurance for gun owners. And we've heard this whispered about in Maryland. And are you kidding me? And the Clay Turner, who wrote this article, says, tongue in cheek, he says, would he also support a tongue tax on free speech? Neither does he explain how an insurance requirement would be an impediment to a deranged killer intent on mayhem. Perhaps he means that the victims of criminals in the forms of the families of the slain should be able to collect on the insurance of fellow victims of those same criminals in the form of burgled gun owners. It seems that in his blame game, Frum would like to cut out the middleman. But in any conceivable scenario, Frum's insurance scam won't stop an attacker hell-bent on unleashing hell. On the contrary, every study of permit holders shows them to be far more law-abiding than the general population, and it says even more so than cops. But the truth is irrelevant to Frum, who reveals his true opinion of permit holders when he advocates for his insurance scheme. And in the article, he says, quote, the potential victims of a concealed carry permit holder's inaccuracy, incompetence, senility, arrogance, racism, or lack of impulse control are entitled to better assurance than this. And apparently we're all senile and racist. Well, at least all of us who would like to have a CCW. He parrots Barack Obama's claim that mass murder doesn't happen elsewhere, that it is a uniquely American phenomenon that condemns the Second Amendment as a dangerous anachronism from an earlier ignorant time. But the ignorance is Frum's, and he wrote this just the way I would have written it, and it is willful. Aside from breaking news of the 39 that were killed in Tunisia, the top 3 mass public shootings of all time, and 9 of the worst 13 happened outside of the United States. Compared to Europe, U.S. ranks 8th in mass public shootings per million, 8th in mass public shootings per million, behind Norway, Macedonia, Serbia, Slovakia, Finland, Belgium, and the Czech Republic. And then he goes on to say, but apparently that news is inconvenient to Frum, who would rather quote the inflated statistics of Michael Bloomberg's anti-gun advocacy group, Every Town for Gun Safety, outrageous figures that even the Washington Post, no friend to gun rights, awarded 4 Pinocchios, all 4 of whom were presumably holding their noses. So, yeah. Go.
Would you like to talk about the HPRB meeting? Shift gears a little bit?
We can do that. So, the July 7th HPRB meeting was scheduled for yesterday.
I heard. And it went swimmingly well, and everybody was happy and walked away with their CCWs.
Well, the evening went well until it went sideways about 5 o'clock.
Can't wait to read the minutes.
Give me that last article you just said.
So, Yeah, about 5 o'clock, my phone started blowing up. It's like, hey, we're starting to hear that the HPRB meeting's not being held at the Glen Burnie Barracks anymore, and they don't know where it's been moved to. So we started making phone calls to everybody that we knew.
They didn't call me because you know whose number I've got.
Talk to him.
Okay. You did or somebody else did?
I did.
Oh boy. How'd that go?
Quite well, actually.
Okay.
He was like, as far as he knew, it was supposed to have been moved, but it never got finalized.
Okay.
So the end result was we told everybody, go ahead and show up at Glen Burnie, because we had one individual that was supposed to have their hearing last night at the meeting that had talked to Miss Street all day yesterday, and just to verify that his hearing would indeed happen last night.
Right.
So we had that. We had one of our members call one of the HPRB board members and ask if they knew whether it had been moved. And to that person's knowledge, it wasn't. It was still at Glen Burnie. So off of those two items alone, we decided, screw it, send everybody to Glen Burnie. Let's keep going. What's the worst that can happen? Everybody can show up. Yeah, it's moved. There's nobody here. The HPRB doesn't show up. We twiddle our thumbs a little bit, and then we fire off nasty grams to Secretary Moyer and say, hey, what the hell?
Okay.
I
don't know who Secretary Moyer is.
Secretary Moyer is the secretary in charge of Department of Public Safety and Corrections. Steve Moyer.
Got it.
So I got there a little late after 6. We had about a dozen folks show up. The board showed up. Ms. Street showed up. And they were as perplexed as we were to find out that, no, they couldn't hold their board meeting there.
And why is that?
Because the barracks commander for Glen Burnie, Lieutenant Lutz, had sent an email out on Monday to everybody in his barracks saying that the HPRB would no longer be holding their meetings there.
But they didn't inform the HPRB.
Correct. Lieutenant Lutz jumped the ball just a little bit on his email.
Wow.
So the HPRB shows up. They go into their little room for 45 minutes without opening it to the public. They have a meeting with their contact at DPSC, Department of Public Safety and Corrections,
Right.
who is Russell Neverdone.
Okay.
They figured out that no, they can't have it there because MSP has said no. The lieutenant still said no. So after 45 minutes, they came out and said, sorry, folks, we didn't have a meeting about a meeting. All we did was discuss some stuff in regards to where we were going to hold the meeting. There's no hearing tonight. We are working on finding a location. Once we have a location, we'll update the website and let everybody know. That was 45 minutes later. And pretty much everybody left.
So what else were we going to do?
So last night, went home, fired off an email to Secretary Moyer.
Right.
Woke up this morning at 8 o'clock. There was a reply for him. He had handed it off to Russell Neverdon. Had a conversation with him about half hour, 45 minutes. And that's when we indeed found out that, yeah, he told me what we already knew. They had no clue that they had been locked out of Glen Burnie. It's like, yeah, we figured that out last night when your board had no clue.
Right.
So I understand you're looking for a new location. Yes, we are. Any ideas where that's going to be? No. Might I suggest that it be somewhere that has public access, unlike the last location? And we kind of went back and forth on, well, the Glen Burnie
Why can't
Barracks.
they have this at like a library?
That was my question.
They can have it the board is charged in statute and in code to set the location of the meeting.
Correct.
So they can have it anywhere they want.
So they have the authority to set the location.
Yep.
of the
Providing
meeting.
there's access to the location.
That doesn't mean that they don't have to work with somebody to get it.
Right. But I mean, they could call, if
And
they-
it would depend too, if they pay attention to RSVPs, for example, the location that they had, you had what, 14 people there yesterday?
We had 12.
Okay, so 12 people, and I've been in that room. It's smaller than this room.
12 people wouldn't have fit once they put the board around the table.
there's a library, Kathy would know which one it is. I
But-
think it's in Severna Park that has a huge meeting room.
Oh, all of them have huge meeting rooms.
Well, no, that's not necessarily.
The Miller Library in Howard County certainly does.
Yeah.
Well, the one in Anne Arundel that's closest to the Glen Burnie Barracks does.
But they want it to be someplace that they feel.
AGC sounds good. I like that. I like the way you think. Yeah, have it at AGC. Heck, they could have it. They could have it right across the bridge. There's a huge parking lot at the Kent Island Library. Huge parking lot, and they have a big room. And if they want to keep it at MSP, they could do it at the Centerville Barracks. That kind of works for me.
Actually, no. MSP doesn't want the HPRB in any of their facilities.
Why? Did they say why?
Yes, our friend said why.
Why?
He said that Maryland State Police for the last 8 to 10 years have been trying to get the various administrations to move the HPRB out of MSP so that the appearance of
collusion.
Yeah,
correct.
No, I can see that.
So yes,
you know what? I don't have a problem with that.
So
I could actually see it being perfectly valid. It's a perfectly valid point.
So that's
because
how
the board is supposed to be reviewing the decisions of the MSP, not just accepting what the MSP says.
Or defending them, right? No, it makes sense to me. So, all right. So now we just have to figure out where they're moving to.
Yep.
Tell them to come east. I'll come play with them.
No, I can look at it and go, if they're going to meet anywhere in a static location, then it should be reasonably central in the state.
Right.
Theoretically, there should be. I mean, I would love to see controlling legislation put in that matches up somewhat to the HQL process, where reviews of the HQL by law must occur in the county of the applicant, if I remember correctly. So
Put that on your list. Well, I'm pretty sure they're not colluding.
no, collusion's a bad word that implies some of some active thought in the process. The board over the past administration has been quite obviously, if anybody's ever seen Mike Smiegel's video, quite obviously falls flat in line with the MSP under most circumstances, not all. They did issue some, I don't know what the percentage is. I'm sure somebody's got the numbers at some point, but they issued very few reversals of the MSP's decisions and determinations. They pretty much, I can tell you in my personal hearing, it was whatever then Corporal Knob said was what the board accepted, hands down, despite objections of my bull in a china shop attorney.
Yes, well.
But so I can't say it's collusion. I could say it is.
But the appearance of impropriety.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Good words.
Thank you. This is why I'm the grammar Nazi. Yeah. So, all right. So let us know where the next meeting is, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
And Rain Man, I believe that Rain Man asks, is the board going to set up their own meetings now, as in venues? They're going to have to.
Right.
They've now figured out that they can't do it in an MSP location, so they're going to have to figure something out.
Well, they ought to figure out where they all live and do something that is, sort of central to where they all live so they can meet more often. I'm just saying. Legendary CNN anchor to concealed carry opponents. Shut the F up about it. I swear to you, that's what it says right there. This is according to bearingarms.com, posted by Bob Owings the other day, actually. Last week, you guys heard about CNN and headline news anchor Lynn Russell and her husband Chuck DeCaro, both of whom have concealed carry permits, survived a hotel room invasion shootout at an Albuquerque Motel 6 last week. Her life was saved by legally concealed weapons. Russell is speaking out very strongly in favor of the Second Amendment. Russell told Fox 411 that having a gun, quote, absolutely, end quote, saved their lives. Quote, the discussion over the debate to own a gun is just ridiculous. As Americans, we have the right to bear arms, and as human beings, the right to protect ourselves. I'm sure that the man who shot my husband did not have a gun permit. Criminals always have guns. The rest of us legally obtain our gun permits. Russell and DeCaro have been longtime advocates for carrying guns legally. The author of Hell on Heels explains the decision should be an individual one, and those who do not want to carry should not weigh in on the gun control conversation. Quote, if you don't want to carry, please don't. Then shut the F up about it. Make your own decisions. And you know what? Darn right. The man who attacked Russell and who died under a hail of bullets fired by DeCaro was an ex-con on parole from Tennessee. DeCaro is a former U.S. Army former Special Forces, and Russell credits that training for him to being able to keep his composure under fire and put shots on target even after being hit 3 times himself, including at least 1 shot center mass. DeCaro emptied one of the couple's concealed carry guns and then grabbed the other and fired at least 1 shot. The heavily ventilated parole violator was found in the Motel 6 parking lot where Tom Bodette presumably left the light on for the coroner, the crime scene investigators. Okay, that's just a little funny. The New York Post awkwardly claims that the couple were armed with, quote, 35 caliber handguns, end quote, which we can safely assume are actually 9mm pistols. I can't find any articles detailing what kind of pistols that the couple used for concealed carry. While DeCaro did all the shooting in the shootout, Russell is herself no slouch, having been a private investigator and deputy sheriff who concealed carry even when on air. You know, there's hope for CNN after all. Russell surprised Conan O'Brien one night when she showed up in the audience. When she showed the audience how she preferred to carry a concealed pistol in a thigh holster under her skirts and dresses. And actually, there's a picture here. I'll show you in a minute. We would echo Russell's advice that citizens have a personal choice to make regarding whether or not they want to carry a firearm for personal defense. And if someone doesn't want to use one or has no desire to use one to defend their own life, they should simply cease talking about it instead of attempting to force others to join them as easy victims. She's a little pink bow on her thigh holster.
Yeah, I saw that one earlier.
That was cute.
I saw that.
This one relates to something that I gave to Dan. So Dan, I'm gonna do this one, and then you're gonna do the thing that I gave you. Okay?
Okay.
9 p.m. may be scary tonight. Oh, come on. Okay, from America's First Freedom. Somebody's been reading a lot of America's First Freedom. I wouldn't want to ask any questions here, but from the editor, Mark Chestnut.
I receive it as my magazine of choice with my life membership.
Yeah, I get 3 of them, actually. There's no avoiding gun control in the 2016 campaign. A new Suffolk University USA Today survey just released last week shows that the majority of Americans do not want gun control to be a significant subject in the 2016 elections. In fact, the survey conducted June 25 to 29 indicates that 52% of respondents, 52% of respondents said they didn't want to hear about guns this time around. Unfortunately for them, they are going to be very disappointed, and for good reason. A candidate's attitude about the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms might be more important than any other topic a candidate addresses. Several statements made by Democratic presidential candidates in the past few weeks prove they have little respect for gun rights or gun owners. Of course, when Hillary Clinton, widely believed to be the front runner at this time, she recently came out with guns or anti-guns blazing, spouting disdain for law-abiding gun owners. Of course, when Clinton talks about common sense reforms, we know what she really means. I lived in Arkansas and I represented upstate New York. I know that gun ownership is part of the fabric of a lot of law-abiding communities, Clinton said. I also know we can have common sense reforms that keep weapons out of the hands of criminals. Bullshit. I'm sorry, not 9 o'clock yet. And the violently unstable by respecting responsible gun owners. She continued, quote, the stakes are too high, the costs are too dear, and I am not and will not be afraid to keep fighting for common sense reforms along with you. Achieve those on behalf of all of those who have been lost because of this senseless gun violence in this country, end quote, she said. Skipping ahead. As long as Hillary Clinton, Martin O'Malley, yeah, let's not even forget him and his 1% of the polling. As long as Hillary Clinton, Martin O'Malley, and Bernie Sanders are in the race, gun control must be a central conversation of the 2016 presidential campaign. Even presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, who claims to be pro-gun candidate in the Democratic race, seems to somehow see the Second Amendment as applying differently to those who live in rural or urban environments. Quote, I think we need to have a serious conversation about that, Sanders said. Quote, I think rural America needs to understand what urban America feels. Urban America needs to understand the culture of rural America. But I think together we have got to go forward to make certain that people who should not be having these weapons do not have them. He also took the opportunity to attack so-called assault weapons. There are weapons out there that have nothing to do with hunting and are designed to kill people and kill them quickly. And is that why my AR-15 is now illegal? Because I was planning on hunting with that once I get it built out.
Have to be careful on what you build it out with and where you're hunting.
I'm aware.
There are certain places where you have to meet a certain speed requirement
Yes.
for muzzle velocity. So.
Yes, I'm aware. And I'm prepared to deal with that. And this is an issue that must be dealt with. So according to this survey, gun control should not be an issue. People don't want to hear it. But Dan,
Yes. Yes.
you have something you'd like to offer on that?
I don't, but apparently we've got a couple politicians that do.
There we go. Good job. Hit it.
I really don't want to hit either one of them.
Just talk about the issue.
Oh, that issue. So everybody knows that Donna Edwards and Chris Van Hollen are the only two Democrats at this point running for Mikulski's seat when she retires in 2017. Both of them have decided to bring the gun debate back up and say that we need stricter federal gun laws. Van Hollen, before Charleston.
But how could this be? That poll, the USA Today poll, said people don't want to hear it.
I understand that, but they are deaf to the public. Van Hollen did enter a bill in Congress about a week before Charleston to make background checks a little more stricter for private gun sales. That'll probably go nowhere.
God, I hope so.
Let's see.
CVH?
Chris Van Hollen.
Oh.
Yes, Chris Van Hollen. So pretty much both of them would like to make Maryland's law federal law nationwide.
Yeah.
Because they seem to think that that is the cure-all, end-all for firearms violence.
It
period.
has certainly helped the residents of Baltimore City.
Yes, it has.
If you can't sense the dripping sarcasm in that one, folks, I can't help ya.
And parents says doobie doobie doo.
Well, wait a minute. He gets laughed at for doing that, and you look at me with
Yes,
disdain.
because I know what you're saying when he says it, he's meaning something else. So,
Well, how do you know that?
because Perrin loves me.
And I don't? Okay.
Some days more than others. That's a truism. Some days more than others. Like, so, yeah, right, Bolts, because it did so much for Baltimore. So, yeah, so it's going to be an issue, and we need to continue to make this an issue. And when you meet these guys, ask them where they stand and write the letters to the editor and make it an issue.
So I do have to bring up one. I think I sent it to her as a link late, but
Yeah, I didn't.
just looking at Bernie Sanders for an example. I disagree with the man on multiple stances anyway.
So
but
very many things.
one of the things that is actually interesting is that he has, in a recent article, and I can't remember where it was from, so I don't have it pulled up as a reference. He actually stood on the correct side of an issue, saying that there is no liability for the gun manufacturers in anything related to this, that we don't put liability on any other industry when somebody uses a tool from that industry
Right.
to commit violence. Just the fact that they manufactured something that can be used to do that doesn't mean that they're culpable or legally responsible for stuff.
Right.
And that he doesn't support the legislation that has come forward a couple of times of making the firearms, whether it's ammunition or firearms manufacturing, liable for their products, for the uses of their products by people that are not obviously
So he's not
specifically part of it.
completely out of his mind.
Not completely.
Not completely.
Just mostly.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, apparently Perrin has picked up on your doobie-doo, and he meant exactly what you said. So, Perrin, now you're in trouble. Mike, how many socialists tell the truth? Oh, God. They tell it the way they see it. And the last thing I have for tonight, and I know you have a couple of things, Mike. Some Einstein has developed a gun-shaped iPhone case. I kid you not.
Yeah, I saw that.
Here it is.
Idiot.
I want to know
Idiot.
if I go into the grocery store or let's say the 7-Eleven, because the 7-Eleven here has been robbed, and I go to answer my phone and I pull out my iPhone and there's a policeman in there, what are my odds of getting shot? Pretty damn good, actually. And frankly, if you were stupid enough to buy this and stupid enough to whip it out in the convenience store,
somebody will be stupid enough to try to get through TSA with it.
Yep. Police officers are not happy, of course. Would not suggest purchasing this cell phone case, which was designed to look like a firearm. NYPD 112th Precinct. I don't know whose quote that is. Oh, retired state trooper, New Jersey state trooper. Ocean City Prosecutor's Office in New Jersey added to the backlash on a Facebook post. And a police officer's job is hard enough without having to make a split-second decision in the dark of night when someone decides to pull this case out while they stop for a motor vehicle violation. So, yeah, I mean, so I guess if you buy this and you get shot, it's another Darwin Award.
Oh, you mean like the guy who launched a firework off the top of his head?
Correct.
But wait, that wasn't his fault. His mom said that the laws weren't strict enough to protect her son.
There we go. We need a law. Don't launch fireworks off the top of your head.
Yeah.
That'll fix it.
All right, let's see. From the pile that I have,
I don't even remember what I gave you.
mainly because it applies to us, and it's actually an old building with a lot of history and some very interesting history. The old Senate chamber has finally been finished in its rehab work and was open to the public. Well, not open to the public, but reopened.
Actually,
So you can walk in, just like the house side of the things. You can walk in a little bit and see what it looks like, what it looked like during certain. I don't remember what era they picked to make it look like.
well, it would have to be around the time that Washington surrendered his sword. So whatever year that was.
But yeah, it for those of you that have never actually toured the State House, it is actually a very interesting building to go around and
Do it now.
Do it. For those of you that live in Gail Bates's senatorial district, I'm certain she would love to tell you. I have to give Gail some mad props for how she treated my children when I took them up there while I was working for Delegate Smeagol. She saw us in the State House after we had met with her for an hour in her office, and before she was supposed to be on the floor for session. She happened to see us wandering around. I was getting ready to take my kids up to the gallery to witness the opening of session and for the day, and or I guess for the afternoon, actually. And she saw me walking around, and she goes, "Well, have you taken a tour?" No. Well, let's go. Let's show you some stuff. And here's some stuff that's neat. And I can't. And one of her phrases: "I can't wait for the Senate rehab to be done, because we can move this back to where it belongs." Then she pointed to George Washington's speech, which was on was in a display case
In the middle of the
right in front of the marble staircase going up to the second floor in the newer part of the State House. And then the interesting thing on taxes, for those of us that have concerns about our tax levels in this state, and those of you, especially those of you that live in districts with Democrat leadership or rhinos,
Not me.
why don't you go ahead and ask your delegate to explain the significance of the state capitol dome? Because we had this discussion in Gail's office.
It's an awesome story.
And I won't say about the discussion in Gail's office. She was talking about what she did and what committee she sat on at the time when she was in the House, and was explaining to my younger son what that meant from a tax perspective. And she told the story about the Capitol Dome, and she reinforced it when we did the tour. with her when she gave us the impromptu tour. And she said, now look up. Remember that dome I was telling you about in my office? What did I tell you in my office? And my younger son, without hesitation, said, it's neat. It's all put together with dowels. And she had told a very specific story. So she looked at him and she said, okay, tell me, do you remember why I told you that is the case? And he said, yes, because they didn't want to pay tax on nails. So the craftsmen that were building the state capitol dome didn't want to pay any taxes on the nails, which they would have had to do. So they said, it's after 9 o'clock, the hell with it. We'll put it together with wooden dowels. So the entire state capitol dome is held together with wooden dowels.
Yeah,
it's a wooden structure held together by wooden dowels.
I have actually heard her tell that story on the floor too, and it was one of those moments that I went, hey, wait a minute, I didn't know that. It's just very cool.
So it's one of those things that you can use as you can try to use as a lesson for the Democrats. Just go, hey, what's that made? What's that put together by again, and why?
Yeah, they don't want to hear that.
But again, it is reopened, and actually, this is neat. I hadn't read all of the article. So in the article for the old Senate chamber reopens at Maryland State House, byline is Michael Dresser, the Baltimore Sun, July 6th.
Morpheus.
The quote, there are no curtains or artificial light, and the wooden floor has been painstakingly assembled with dowels instead of nails. So the design contrasts with the more plush furnishings of the old house chamber across the hall, which was restored to its late 19th century appearance.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. They did a beautiful job in there. I have been in there.
So I've been in the house side, and the house side was beautiful. I can only imagine that the Senate side is equally. And I'll have to get the kids down there to take a look at it again. I have a request from my brother from another mother to talk about our other brother. Going back to your article about the iPhone case.
Yeah.
So my other brother is a member of law enforcement in a highly contested area of the country right now. He arrested a young fine gentleman. Red thug.
Can't say thug. It's racist.
No, I can say thug. I don't.
Thug
It
is
ain't
racist.
racist.
Oh, Stephanie Rawlings Blake said it was racist.
Well, Stephanie
Therefore,
Rawlings
it must
Blake
be so.
Can bend over and kiss my ass.
And he's not drinking. Go ahead.
So
Make sure you
he
take
confiscates
prophylaxis after that
this spring-assisted knife. You want to know what the spring-assisted knife looked like?
A Glock.
A little miniature 1911. It was about overall length of the knife when closed was about 4 inches, about a 3-inch blade. But yes, it literally looked like a small 1911. And he didn't think there was anything wrong with carrying it. Either the fact that it looked like a gun or the fact that it was spring assisted, which is illegal in the city of Baltimore.
Right. Yep.
All right. So a couple of quick ones. I'll do the Baltimore line item first. Baltimore Sun, Connor Meek, July 6th. Police add insult to injury after mugging. So, no, I need those. So I won't read the whole article, just the basic statement that Connor apparently was accosted by a group of, let's see, quote, I was accosted by a group of about 15 youths on the Gwynns Falls Trail. Youths. And escaped unscathed minus a bicycle. And then apparently he went to the Southwestern District of the Baltimore Police Department and was told that that he was currently informed that the police station was closed from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And it was not the appropriate place to report a crime or wait for assistance. He was supposed to call 911 and wait for where he called.
Yeah. In the dark.
Yeah. And then apparently he was taken to the Southern District because apparently the exact location, once the police officers finally determined it, was in the Southern District. It's obviously it's from the op-eds page, so it's the personal opinion of one person. So he plays up. I think he's probably playing up the reactions from the police department. It's not a total surprise to me in any of the localities that the police stations are quote unquote closed. If you were to walk into a state police barracks, yes, the front lobby is open. You will find
But the
maybe
guy,
a trooper, maybe not, maybe a civilian sitting behind the bulletproof glass to accept your information, but it would take a while for them to get somebody to respond to
the
you as
guy
well.
that answered the door was like, "So you want me to get a police officer?" And the guy points
So
out.
I can tell
the guy
you.
points out though, the guy that answered the door was a police officer.
Okay, so I do have to talk about that one though. It is the policy of the Baltimore City Police Department that most of the time, the officer sitting at the desk
Yeah.
is on light duty
Okay.
and is not authorized to make arrests or anything like that because he's on light duty. He's technically not allowed to
He
perform his
can't
duties.
take a report.
No, the front desk officer wouldn't take the report anyway. The front desk officer would get somebody to take the report for you. Front desk officer. Okay, remember? Oh, what the hell was that show? Barney Miller.
Uh-huh.
Levitt.
Talk about Barney Miller. Talk about
Remember Levitt?
1 Adam 12, whatever the name of that show was. Whenever they show you anybody coming into the station, this, in a lot of cases, the sergeant at the desk. What did the sergeant at the desk do? Picked up the phone, called somebody else, told them to come down and help you.
Right.
Took an initial thing to figure out, okay, which department, in the case of, like New York, where you have multiple within the precinct house, you've got its own homicide detectives, its own burglary detectives. You just found out, okay, am I calling somebody from burglary, from homicide, from minor crimes, whatever, and I'll get them down here. In Baltimore City, many people in that station house during a shift, and overnight. I've never been there after midnight. I can say that I've been to a district office after midnight for a short period of time when I got done with a ride along, but it is an empty place. So
So
I take this with a grain of salt.
They told him to stay in the park. Call 911.
That was the initial
park.
response, yes.
And so he
But
didn't want to stay.
We
there.
don't know. There's 3 sides to every story.
Right one, the wrong one, and the one in the middle.
So, well, the opinion of one side, the
Rain
opinion
Man.
of the other person.
Rain Man. Barney Miller, damn, you're old. You could have at least gone with Hill Street Blues. Hawaii 5-0. Yeah. And you could have gotten away with that one, Adam 12. Yeah, close to a public cop still inside doing cop stuff. And if you need to be inside, you'll get in. Morpheus, MJD, I understand what you were saying, but a cop will address a crime conducted in front of him. Even if they are off duty, this is a direct effect from the riots and
So in Maryland, the policies that apply to a police officer, and I'm not one, I'm going on memory from a very trusted source that I know and have been friends with for over a quarter of a century.
Damn, you really are old.
The a certified police officer in the state of Maryland has a duty to act when witnessing a felony in progress. If it's not a felony in progress, they have no duty to act. Most of them would stop. In Baltimore City nowadays, that's one of the reasons why I'm saying this is being played up. Think about when it happened. It happened after the riots.
Right.
It is being. We don't have the side of the police department in this particular article that I was referencing. So. Yes, a lot of the police officers in Baltimore City at this point are, I won't say afraid to do their jobs. Trepidatious would be probably more accurate.
Right.
They are constantly looking over their shoulders and trying to figure out, is what I'm doing going to meet the definition of the political class of being a legal arrest, despite the fact that I know that I need to arrest somebody for a violation of the law as I've been taught. So
where am I going to go to jail? So, yeah. Rain Man said, I'm sorry, 2A. Whoa, someone robbed in Baltimore. Baltimore? Careful, stop everything. So, I think.
Well, and I can look at it and go, okay. So per the article, let's see, what time was this? Did this say it would happen at?
It was after 7 p.m.
It's after 7 p.m., but it doesn't say what specific time it happened at. But okay, so you have somebody bicycling through Gwynns Falls Park after 7 p.m.
What does that mean?
You
don't know,
you don't
Gwen. I
hang
don't
you don't
know.
hang around in Baltimore. I know enough to go. That ain't happening.
No.
Ain't happening for no reason.
Okay. I don't know anything about Gwen Falls Park.
No.
So
And no. Even with both of us together, no.
okay.
And we look like old fat detectives. At least I've been told that I do. So, especially when I'm wearing a sport coat or a suit. All right. So,
Damn jarheads.
yeah. Lovely couple of similar articles written on the same day from the same paper, the Washington Times, bylines by David Boyer and Deborah Simmons, about the White House blaming the GOP for Catherine Steinle's slaying in San Francisco.
Oh, wait. Okay. Bring us up to speed.
So last week, an illegal immigrant who had been detained and set for deportation 5 separate times.
Yeah.
Shot and killed a passerby in San Francisco. San Francisco, being a sanctuary city, followed their rules and released the gentleman from jail before this event happened. Saying that they had never received a warrant from ICE to hold him. They had received an information request from ICE asking them to hold him, but since San Francisco has declared, the city and county of San Francisco have declared themselves to be a sanctuary environment, an information request is not good enough. It must be a federal warrant. So they let him go. So we're back to the president and the White House and Nancy Pelosi blaming the Republican Party for their stance, their intransigence in passing any of Obama's suggested reasonable gun control measures as the reason for this shooting happening. Rather than taking the responsibility of saying, no, it was an illegal immigrant who wasn't processed properly because of the democratic policies of the Democratic leadership of the city and county of San Francisco, in almost direct line with what the president of our country wants to do anyway, and just kind of ignore the illegal immigration issue. What's more interesting is finding out today that the firearm that the gentleman used was a stolen personal firearm of a federal agent, stolen from a car during a car robbery. Apparently it had something in his vehicle and stolen from his vehicle.
Oh my God.
And reported as such a while back, but.
Okay. Well, I have to go because I hear Pup crying downstairs, which probably means he needs to go out. And I think we've hit all of our targets tonight. Yes? Yes?
As far as I know.
Okay. Well,
I don't have anything left in the pile you handed me.
that's what I wanted to know. Thank you. So we will see you in 2 weeks. And have a good week, 2 weeks. And Mike, be safe on your trip, please. Yes?
I got to address one comment here. Morpheus, think most know what the difference between a felony and other crimes are. If you're talking about police officers, yes. They don't know what a prohibited knife is. The political class in Baltimore, I'll take a little bit of an umbrage there for my brothers in blue, even though I'm a brother in red. The police officers in the city of Baltimore certainly know what is a prohibited knife and what is not, based upon Baltimore City law. A spring-assisted knife in the city of Baltimore is an illegal knife, and they would chase it appropriately. But, most citizens may not know that, but there are some important definitions, and we as citizens have our own responsibilities as part of our government lesson, that we have a responsibility to know and monitor our government and know the laws that apply to us.
True.
And the laws that are being passed. The fact that most people don't is a bad reflection on the deterioration in civics classes since I was in high school 20 some years ago. But it is incumbent upon us as citizens to know things too. What the heck was what?
I don't know. My phone just.
Well, maybe it was maybe it was
I don't know.
Gun Bunny telling us that she'd never tried to call him.
I noticed that. So, okay. No, it was not Gun Bunny, actually. It was my friend out in Wisconsin who, if he knows what's good for him, is listening to the show. Speaking of people I've known for over 30 years, people we've known for over 30 years. So,
Yeah, Bolts.
2
I
weeks.
will say that Bolts, safe travels, safe drive.
Yes. And,
I don't know how many of the trips you're actually making, or if you've already done any of them already, but be safe.
Yep.
Good luck.
And yeah, let us know. We might take that road trip. We have spouses to check with. I've got the truck. That's not a problem. And I think both of you have at one point or another driven my truck, so we're in good shape there.
I haven't driven yours, but yours is the same as mine. So
You haven't driven my truck?
no,
Really?
no,
I'm shocked. I thought for sure you had. Anyway.
no. I ride shotgun everywhere with you,
Oh, it's because it was around Annapolis. All right.
and around here.
You don't know where everything is here.
Applehead HPRB meeting reminder. Wait, never mind. I'm sure there will be more information posted on shooters when we know where things are going.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, if you know of events coming up that are either 2A related or in support of 2A endeavors or legislators, let us know, and we will be sure to put them on the show. We're happy to support everybody. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We will see you in 2 weeks. Have a good night. Have a good 2 weeks.
Oh, let's see. What am I going to pick to go out on? Oh, since she didn't call, we'll pick on her again.
I wanted her to call and do it live, but she didn't call. She's got family in, though.
Hammers back and the safety's on, safety's on, safety's on. Hammers back and the safety's on unless it's a Glock.
Here we come, walk down the street. Get funniest looks from everyone we meet. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down. We're just trying to be friendly. Come and watch sing and play. We're the young generation, and we got something to say.